Welcome back to Real Repairs, folks. As you may know, this is a series where we take on actual repair jobs and figure them out in real time. And today is a very special episode because we're going to touch on finishing, specifically finish repairs. And that's a subject that I'm very excited about because in my career, I've always found it the most challenging aspect of any building or repair job out there. I've never gotten to the end of a complete finish or refinish or even a touch-up and felt that I did a perfect job. So we've called in a ringer today, Jeff Jewitt from Jewitt Guitars in Cleveland, Ohio. Jeff is a finishing expert. He's written many books. He's done tons of finishing. He's worked with Stu Mac for over 30 years now with some of our finishing supplies, and we're super excited to have him here today.
Thanks for having me down here. I always love coming to Stu Mac. I brought with me a double O guitar that I've built or I've decided to build for the Artisan Guitar Show.
Yes.
And I've gotten this to the point where we've got the pores filled, we've got the grain filled, and we've got a couple coats of finish on it, and now we're all ready to play in the spirit of education.
Yeah, you mentioned this is going to hit the spray booth for a sunburst at some point anyway.
That's right. But first, I get a chance to show you some techniques on camera, and if they aren't perfect, well, they'll all be hidden anyways. But this is the perfect stage to do touch-ups, even if it weren't getting a burst. And one of the most annoying things in the world about finishing is that sometimes those dirty little problems don't show up until you get that first coat of finish on.
Right.
No matter how good you are with surface preparation, with being diligent about sanding and cleaning and all that stuff, these little nasty things come up, and I've identified 5 areas that need some work on this beautiful guitar. 1, we've got a glue spot.
So explain to us what you mean by a glue spot.
Okay, now a glue spot is one of those things, okay, when you put the glue on to put the binding on or that type of thing, you try to wipe it all off and then you sand it all off and all that, and everything looks good, but when you put a coat of finish on it, or you sometimes wipe it with naphtha, it will show up as a lighter spot.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, Gene, is because the glue is like a finish.
Yeah, sure.
And it actually seals the wood, but it's a different type of finish, so that when the clear finish goes over it, the glue spot is almost, it's lighter.
And what kind of glue do you have here? Do you use like Weld-On or Bindal or?
I use Tight Bond to glue on my binding.
This is a wood binding you have on
And
here?
this is a solid wood.
Okay.
Well, it's a synthetic ebony called Ebano, but it is wood, okay?
And
it's
you still
wood,
use Tight Bond?
and I use Tight Bond with it. And then on the front here, we've got a little bit of tear out from maybe the purfling or something like that that shows up as a little bit of kind of a ragged black edge.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
I've had to deal with this before too, and I've never done a great job of it. So I'm really excited to see how you deal with that.
Well, soundboard touch-ups are very, very dicey.
Because of the light color?
Well, it's the light color, but it's one of the things that if you've ever looked at a touch-up or any sort of area on a spruce guitar top, it will look fine from one angle when you're looking at it, say like this, and then you walk around to the other side and it sticks out like a sore thumb. So my advice to everybody is that if you have an anomaly in the center here, like a pitch pocket or something like a, you know, that is untoward or a little black line, just leave it. It's wood, okay? And it'll always be wood.
You could easily make it worse trying to touch
You
that.
usually do make it worse.
Not that I've ever done that.
Well, the thing is, that is so weird about this. You start doing a very little touch-up, and then it doesn't look right, so you touch up a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you have this big touch-up like this, and it grows and grows, and it's like I don't know, like a.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the Blendal powders.
Yes.
Which Stu Mac just got in. I was so happy you guys finally got those in, and a Micron pen.
Yes.
We'll show you those, and they're very inexpensive pens that you can get on it, and we're gonna make some touch-ups on this stained glass rosette that I did.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I like what you've done here.
I have to say that, you know, I always do impeccable miters, okay? But just for you, and for this video, I did some really bad miters.
Oh, we appreciate that, Jeff.
Okay? Up on here, we've got some bad purfling. Now, these white purfling lines have to be perfect.
Yeah, they stand
Because
out.
that's what everybody sees.
Yes, that's what everybody sees there.
Okay, so I'm gonna clean that up, and believe it or not, we can make that a lot better here
Okay.
here, all the way around here. And then on the neck, we've got a little areas here. I kind of got a little bit happy with the sanding and took off too much of the rosewood here, so I exposed too much of this maple on the sandwich here.
This sounds great, Jeff. I'm excited. Which one do you want to do first?
Well, why don't we do the glue spot?
Okay,
Because
great.
that will allow us to bring out the powders and show you a couple of little neat tricks that I have developed over the years for people when I'm trying to teach this to them for the first time.
All right, before we go any further, folks, this is Real Repairs, and we do this unscripted. We roll with whatever comes our way, and today there happens to be a lot of road construction outside of our studio, so you may hear a little bit of hum and noise in the background, but it's not going to distract us from what we're working on here on the guitar,
Well, if you can
Jeff.
repair a guitar, why not repair a street at the same time, right?
Exactly. Okay, so I see you've got your kit here you talked about, and
Yeah.
you've got some supplies out here.
Okay.
Let's, why don't you walk me through
Sure.
what you've got here?
Well, I did mention the fact that StuMac finally brought in these Blendal powders,
You've added a
and
lot more
I
colors.
think there's a lot more colors. There may be about 12 or 14 of them. We just have a couple here. So what I did was I got one of these clear plastic boxes, and I just filled it up with all the different color powders. And these colors are generally divided into two types of colors, what we call the earth colors, which are actually, in the old days, were just colors that they dug out of the ground and used them.
Oh, wow.
So back
Okay.
in the Renaissance and prehistoric, those were things like sienna, ochres, umbers, and things like that. But with all of the 14 colors I think that StuMac has, you really only need about maybe 7 or so to really do most repairs. The colors that I use the most are what are called the umbers, the siennas, and then maybe red, blue, yellow, and then also white.
So the umbers and the siennas, you're talking like browns and blacks.
Those are your wood tone colors.
Wood tone colors. Okay.
Right, right. And then the primary colors, of course, if you remember from your old art class days, are red, blue, and yellow.
Yeah.
And from those 3 colors, we can get just about any
Right.
other color, but it's very difficult to use those colors to mix brown, so we don't do it. So you'll need basically like a clear compartment bin or mini compartment bin. Those work fine. You'll also need something to mix the colors on. For this video, we're gonna use this little artist tray. Normally, I just use Dixie cups.
Okay.
But it's hard to get the camera in there to show what I'm doing, so we're not gonna use Dixie cups today.
That's great.
You could also use like a clear deli lid, just about anything you can mix on. I use 2 kinds of brushes, or 2 types of brushes. And brushes are like, they're sold kind of like, steel wool, if you want. They have a number system on them, the smallest being 0. Okay? And then as they get bigger, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. A number 2 is a very useful brush. So anyways, what we're gonna do today, we're gonna show you some tips and tricks that I've developed over the years that I show like students on how to kind of like get your color down. So just to demonstrate how this would work, you can get these microscope slides. Just put some naphtha down, and then when you put that microscope slide down, it will wet it out. And then what you can do, you can take your brush and start mixing in your color. So this is something called umber, and it's actually a burnt umber, and that, as you can see, is just about a dead ringer.
Oh, wow, yeah.
For that darker rosewood grain. That lighter rosewood grain, if we had to do that, we'd have to mix in a little bit of yellow. So just using a bit of shellac.
So that's giving you a chance to practice and get your color right.
Yeah, just a little bit of chance to practice. There might even be a little bit of orange in there. And right there, you can see that's more of a true color to that.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That looks great.
So this just kind of helps you to practice a little bit, if you want to call it that. To visualize this touch up here that we have to go back to for this glue spot, I'm going to need that dark brown color we talked about. I'm also going to need black for that binding. Now, if you're not really good with a brush or, controlling a brush, you can always use tape to mask off that nice white binding. And this is just, the orange masking tape that StewMax sells is fine, or the fine line tape that they sell is good.
Okay.
And you can just put some tape down to just kind of protect
Okay.
that binding. But because I'm a pro with umpteen years of experience, I'm going to be freeform and I'm not going to use the tape. To do the actual touch-up, we have to seal this area or we have to get some finish on it. And the reason we have to get finish on it is twofold. Number one, it will wet out the area like the naphtha did so that we can see what we're doing and match the color a little bit better. It also does provide a little bit of a barrier between the original finish. So if we don't like the repair at all, we can just take a little bit of naphtha, maybe mixed with some alcohol, and we can erase it.
Yep.
Okay? So, Gene, what we have to do now is we have to segue over to the spray booth that you've got rigged up for us, and we'll seal that area with some shellac.
Okay, great. Let's do it.
You have some choices here. If this is a lacquer finish, you can always use aerosol lacquer if you don't have an airbrush like what we're going to use. I've got the Ilva polyurethane on here. I've got about 2 or 3 coats on. I'm going to use de-wax shellac. The reason I'm going to use de-wax shellac is using de-wax shellac just ensures that you're going to be compatible with just about any finish known to man.
Yes.
I've never had a problem with de-wax shellac under lacquer, water-based finishes, Ilva polyurethane, oil-based poly, you name it.
It works with everything. Yeah.
So we're going to just actually fill this little airbrush I have here. I'm going to put some of the de-wax shellac in it.
At the same concentration you had it?
It's about a 2-pound cut.
Okay.
And these little airbrushes, you can get these on Amazon for, I don't know, maybe, 30 or 40 bucks. But I like this one, particular one, because it has a larger cup than a lot of the airbrushes. A lot of airbrushes have a very small cup. In fact, I believe this airbrush comes with different sizes cups.
Yeah, this is a good one.
So what we're going to do is we're going to kick on the fan here in this little miniature spray booth we have, and we're going to spray that area. Just enough to make the wood what we call wet, or what it will look like when it has finish on it. You might need several coats of that. That looks to be good. We now see some gloss coming back on the binding, and we've got some more figure and some color in the wood. So that will allow us to then mix our colors and match that finish.
Great.
What's next? Got to get
Some
my
eyes. Okay.
official Optivisor on. And what we'll do is we'll start by the easy one. We'll just take some black and touch up that black binding, and then we'll mix up some of the brown and get that rosewood touched up.
Easy.
Now, I'm going to use the number 2 brush because that's going to be a very easy brush to use. And once again, I've got my shellac in here. So I'm just going to kind of swirl that around to kind of clean it.
Okay.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to just put some Behkol in one of these.
Alcohol. Yeah.
Alcohol, sure. And we can use that to clean the brush. Okay, so let's start with the black. Now, black is easy because black is just black, pretty much. Okay, so let's put some shellac in here, or some clear stuff. Okay, so over in this tray, we'll mix up some black.
And that powder just dissolves instantly. You don't have to worry about giving it time to mix or...
Well, one of the nice things about Blendal powders is that they're made for doing this. They're not made for really much of anything else. Now, you can mix them with epoxy, but they're really not designed to mix into like a clear lacquer and make paint or something like that. That's not. It's mostly, they were originally made for touch-up work.
Okay.
Now, one thing I do want to mention is that when you do this, okay, you can make a solid black color, or you can mix it with a lot of shellac and make more of a transparent color. So if this were like real ebony, especially the ebony today, is not really black. It's not a good black. It's really kind of a brownish black. So what you could do is you could come in with one of these browns and mix it in there to make it a little bit more convincing.
Okay.
Now this is, as I mentioned, is a synthetic ebony called Ebonol. So what we're going to do is just take this number 2 brush and now I want to just mention the technique that I'm using here. Okay. I'm not really trying to paint, okay? What I'm trying to do is almost flick the color on, like this.
It's very gentle strokes, light strokes.
Light strokes, because what you can do that way is you can sort of feather it in.
Yeah.
So once you get the brush working, all you got to do is just kind of feather it in to the rest of the area, and boom, you're done. Now, black is easy.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more challenging to do the rosewood part of it and stay away from that white purfling.
Yeah, that just disappeared.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're now going to do the rosewoods. So we're going to go over to this, what they call umber. I believe in the Blendal powders, it's called burnt umber. There's also one that's called brown mahogany, which you might be able to use. Now, as you can see when I'm mixing this, I don't want to use this really like wet and thick like that. That's why I brought this little thing out, because I want to work it a little bit so it's like that. And what we'll do, now I purposely got a little bit of color on that nice white purfling because I want to show you how you can fix it.
Okay.
These are X-Acto knives. And what a lot of people don't know is that there's different blades made. This is the traditional one that is called a number 11 blade, which everybody's uses, which is used for cutting and things like that. This is a number 16 blade, which has more of a scalpel type tip on it. And it allows me to really just get into that purfling.
You just scrape it off.
And just scrape it off. Now, one thing I want to mention here is that visually, our eyes will be attracted, or we will notice interruptions in continuity or symmetry.
Yeah.
So that when this line goes from thick to thin, it's going to stick out like a sore
Stands
thumb,
out,
particularly under a gloss finish. So we need to get right up to that.
Yep. You can just watch it change.
So now I don't see it. Now, we have Jewitt's cardinal rule, number 1 of touch-ups.
All right.
If you do a touch-up, okay, and you momentarily stop to go get a sip of coffee or maybe, you know, get something out of here, and you come back and you have a hard time finding out where the touch-up was, you're done.
You did a good job.
You're done.
That's where you
You're
stop.
done. That's where you stop and you go back and you seal it.
See, that's where I continue on until I've ruined it and I need to start over.
I know from past experience that what students will do is they will look at that and they'll go, well, no, I need to work it a little bit more, and they enlarge it. And we talked about this. You make a little small repair into a big.
Knowing when to stop is key to a lot of aspects of this kind of work.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we want to do at this point is we want to kind of see where we are.
Okay.
And the best way to do that is to squirt some more shellac on there.
Hit it again with another coat?
Yep.
All right.
So let's do it.
Back to the spray booth.
And that's looking pretty good. Okay, so where we are right now is we put some shellac on there to just kind of seal it. It still looks a little bit dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of this clear shellac, put it on my brush, and again, I'm going to work it. I'm just going to kind of flick it, kind of wet it out, and just make sure that everything looks good. Now you can see when I put that wet shellac on there, everything kind of changes and comes into
Kind of feathered in.
just kind of feathering it in. And just kind of that. Now, I'm going to have to clean up that purfling a little bit again.
Pretty steady hand there, Jeff.
As I mentioned in the beginning, you really just need to know some of the basics of color, and you need to just have a steady hand, maybe a little bit of patience. If you try to scrape things when they're wet, they don't scrape really well. So I may leave this and come back and do the final scraping on this in a little bit. So let's call this one done, and we'll come back and look at it and maybe finesse it a little bit later.
So, but when you lay clear over that too, that's gonna like blend all of that in,
It's going to
right?
blend it in too. And keep in mind one thing. As I go through and start applying clear finish, my clear coats, if it still doesn't look right, I can do some more touch-up.
Okay.
It's just I want to get all my touch-ups done before the final 3 coats of clear.
I think that looks great.
Okay, onward. So on the top, I don't have to spray any shellac on it because I've already done that. Because
have
this
your
is
shiny
just
spots.
Yeah, we can see the gloss, and so we know exactly what we have to do here in terms of matching a color.
Okay.
Now, as I said in the beginning of this video, spruce is very difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's got white in it.
Yeah.
And white is a very dangerous color when it comes to Blendal colors because it will shift on you. So if it's just something like this that's towards an edge like here or maybe around a rosette, that's fine. Don't do anything in the center of it. Just leave it. It's wood. It's part of being a wood and not a piece of Formica, so we know it's wood. Okay, so we're just going to work on this as it is. And what we'll do is, once again, now I cleaned all my trays out because I don't want to contaminate that.
You don't want black in with your white.
I really don't want black in with my white. And what I will do is I will take my brush, my number 0 brush, I'll put it in some of the shellac, and I'll just twist the bristles between my thumb and my forefinger and get a nice pointy tip on there.
Okay.
So now I can get right in there and not disturb anything. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to use white. And what I do is, in my kit, I take some white, some of the Blendal white, and I mix it with a little bit of the sienna, which is sort of like a mustardy, yellowy color.
Okay.
And I make what we call an off-white. Okay? And so what I'll do is I'll just put it in the off-white, mix a little here.
So the off-white you have there is a little bit you've already mixed.
I've
of
already
white?
mixed it
Okay.
with white, okay? Now, there's a lot of yellow in there, so I'm gonna take my yellow.
Okay. Yeah, I see where you're going here.
Now, once I get my brush, I'll twirl it in there to get a really nice point on there, just so that I have just a point of color. Drop my optivisor down.
You're kind of tapping it, kind of
I'm
poking
just
it.
poking it.
Yeah.
Okay, Houston, we have a problem. JJ's number 2 rule of touch-ups, whatever you're touching up has to be level.
Okay.
If it's not, well, you're just not going to be able to get color in there that's going to look correct.
You've got a little crater there, don't you?
Got a little pinpoint almost type of crater, so we need to fill it with something. What do you
Super glue?
think? Yeah, but not any kind of super glue. We're going to use fill and finish,
GluBoost.
which is a GluBoost product that is made for this type of
Good
situation.
stuff. Very good stuff.
Because it doesn't stand like normal super glue.
Yeah.
It's a lot softer and a little bit more flexible, and this will allow us to do this really quickly and then continue on, so we don't waste much time.
This stuff is not your ordinary super glue. It's really great
No.
for finish work.
These little dropper tips are just absolutely perfect for, now I need to just clean that and,
Paper towel?
nah,
Okay.
we'll just use my fingers. My wife doesn't necessarily like it when I come home with cyanoacrylate fingers, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, you've done this before, you're a brave man, yeah.
Okay, now, sometimes when you have a deep hole, it will bubble on you.
Yeah, you get a little air pocket under there.
So you want to kind of hit it with the Accelerator, which is up over here. Thank you, Gene. And use the Accelerator. So just, and just give it a couple seconds. You can watch it, and it will kind of change from, you can see that it's a liquid. It'll kind of like crinkle up.
Watch it like turn color.
And then what I generally do is I just tap it with my finger to make sure it's no longer a liquid. And okay, so now we have to level that.
Yeah.
Now, when I first started working with this, everybody that I watched do this took a razor blade and put like little tape on it and did that little razor blade thing, and then they came back. I got sick and tired of that. StuMac, you guys sell a Eagle Abrasives touch-up kit.
Yeah,
it's
those
a
are
sanding
great.
kit, and it comes with these hard blocks.
Yeah.
These are just the perfect density
Okay.
to level sand that. Let me show you. We're gonna take some 320 grit sandpaper. So just take your block, wrap it around there. And just sand it until the little halo is gone. Now notice what I'm doing is I'm not sanding back and forth in the same direction all the time. If you do that, you create a shallow spot. You may not see it now, but when you put 6 coats of gloss lacquer on it, you will see it. So you do what I call feather sanding. So you come this way a little bit, and then come back the other way. And just keep going back and forth. And that just ensures that you're just gonna keep it flat.
Okay.
Okay, now that I've got it level, I can do my touch-up. And just because it's such a small area, I'm not gonna go over and spray shellac on it. I don't really think I need to.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my brush, this is my number 0 again, and that had color in it, but it looks like not enough color. So let's mix that color again.
Are you trying to match more of the light shade of the spruce or the grain line? Is there a particular shade you're after?
Mostly just the light shade.
Okay.
So if we were to bring this up here, I want to just kind of get into this value here. Now, if you look closely at it, there is a little tiny grain line in there.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can use that
Right. That's
to
kind of
help
what I was
disguise it.
wondering.
But for what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to take this brush and I'm just going to kind of twirl it in that color. And then we'll come back. There we go. Now we're getting color in there. And don't brush it.
Right, you're dabbing it.
Dabbing it. Now, that looks a little bit dark to my eye, so what I'm going to do,
better, yeah, a little
I'm
bit
going to
of
lighten it up. So I'm going to bring some white in it. And once again, don't fuss with this too much. Get it to the point where it's just not that visible. That looks a little bit better. Now, what I did was I went into that black purfling line. Okay. So what we have to do now is we have to finesse that out by redrawing that black line. This is the black Micron pen with one of the finer points. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that 10/1000ths wide black purfling. To do this, you need a steady hand, and then just pretend that the tip of your finger is like the ball bearing when you're routing a binding channel. Okay? And it's going to follow it. Okay, so I'm going to start it over here on the good black, just to make sure that everything is good. Okay. That got a little bit thick on me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with my X-Acto knife.
Watch it clean up. Okay.
Looks pretty good. It still looks a little bit dark to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with my brush, just get it close.
And this is where you could use your little microscope slide trick if you wanted, right? If
Yes.
you really wanted to.
Yes, okay, now I'm getting where I need to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks perfect.
Now, you notice that what I did there is I just took my finger and I just swiped it.
Yep.
Just kind of blended in. I'm going to stop right there. As I mentioned earlier, this spruce is ultimately going to get a sunburst, but I think that at least shows your viewers some techniques for working in a tricky area.
Yeah, that little black spot is gone. When I look away and then I look back, I'm having trouble finding it.
Once again, if I didn't like this at all, I could just take some alcohol and wipe it away.
Start all over.
But using straight alcohol on a fresh finish like this can be dangerous. So this is tip number 4.
Maybe 3?
No,
3?
4.
4?
Maybe 3 or 4. We'll figure it out. Anyways, alcohol is what we call a hot solvent.
Yeah.
Okay? And what that means is it's an aggressive solvent. And actually, denatured alcohol, Behkol, and the stuff you buy in the store will actually attack a lacquer finish and a water-based finish and soften it. So what JJ, your friendly chemist, will tell you to do is to take your Behkol and your naphtha and make what we call a buffering solution.
Okay.
You're going to take your alcohol and you're going to make it less aggressive by putting some naphtha on it, which we know doesn't hurt the finish. Okay?
But naphtha alone isn't going to do what you need.
Right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe this really quickly. Keep
lightening
working,
it up, yeah.
lightening it up just a bit, and
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
say we're pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this, but if you look at it really closely, and you know, with the Optivisor on, we've got some jagged edges
on the
there,
black.
and I'm going to try and come in here and just kind of put one dot of color there. Got a little happy there. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we'll come back with our X-Acto and we'll just clean up that little purfling line. Okay, so what we have here is an instance where don't ever be afraid to start over. Your second approach just might turn out better than the first one.
I think you're right here, man. This looks a lot better the second time around. Should we move on to the rosette now?
We're moving on to the rosette. What we've got here is a bit of a problem I explained at the beginning. Some of the black lines are missing.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is to replace those little thin black lines. Now, there's a couple ways of doing it. You could just tape it off right around it, make a little gap, and then use your black with your little number 0 brush and brush it in, take the tape off and do it that way. That sometimes works. Sometimes it's a bit of a problem because the brush gets underneath and makes a ragged line.
Yeah.
What I prefer to do is to do it with the Micron pen. And once again, as I said, when you buy the Micron pens, you have these different widths. So we'll just try to match it up with the width of that line here. The one that we're using here, the number 2, looks pretty good. So let's stick with that and see how that works. So, Gene, what we're going to do is we're going to just continue this one line here down to the purfling edge. Then there's one here that's like totally missing.
Yeah, I can see where it was at.
And there's just a little bit of black there that shows me
there,
where it should
yeah.
be. And then there's one here that's totally missing.
Okay.
It's really pretty easy. So, once again,
Wow, look at that. Yeah.
you're just continuing it.
Yep. Okay.
So that one was pretty easy. This one's going to be a little bit harder. Once again, rest your hand down here like this
Anchor point.
and anchor it.
Yeah.
Okay? And then you're just going to kind of go back and forth like that. So it just needs to be steady. Okay, number 2. Now this one here is completely missing. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge.
It's at an angle there too.
And it's at an angle.
That looks great, Jeff. Yeah, I wouldn't notice that compared to the other ones. Yeah.
No, again, it does not need to be dead on perfect. You just need to continue it so that it doesn't look broken up.
Sometimes with some of these things too, if it is perfect, it doesn't look right.
No, and even this looks a little bit hot, meaning the black looks a little bit too good. So you can just, and that's a free tool that, well, you don't have to buy it from StuMac.
And when you spray over that, do you have to go like with a really dry coat? Are you ever afraid about making that run when you hit it with a clear coat, or?
Well, number one, I would spray it when it was level so that I wasn't going to get any drips. Okay, that number one. And number two, yeah, you don't want to make it too heavy, but you know, you can just pretend that it's like almost normal.
So like the solvents from your clear coat won't cause the ink to run?
They shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. My experience is that it just needs to lock it down. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that you can't do a touch-up once you're all done and it's clear and buffed out.
Yeah.
All right, you might have something that you see and you go, oh my gosh, you know, I don't want to respray it or something like that. Well, these things aren't going to work because the next time the guy polishes it, it's just going to take it right off. There are markers. These, if you would be so kind as to grab me a few of those markers that you guys use. These will actually bite into lacquer.
Yeah.
So if you have a lacquer finish, it will bite in and you really can't remove it.
Yeah.
So these are very handy things to have. They're called ColorTone Touch Up markers. And they're available in a lot of different colors. This one just happens to be tobacco brown.
It's just colored lacquer in a marker.
Yeah, but you can always tell it's not a dye.
Yeah, right.
It's a pigment, because if it rattles like an aerosol can, that means it's a pigment, so it's going to be color fast.
Okay.
So these are always good to use. We may show one of those in a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with the way the top turned out. I'm more or less happy with that. I think we could probably maybe improve it just a hair as we get into the finishing process. So now this is when you spray something over it to lock it in.
Yep.
Before you maybe go on to your final clear coat. So what you could do is take that over to the booth, spray a little shellac on it. It doesn't need to be a real wet coat. It just needs to be kind of what we call a mist or a dry coat. It'll just lock it down.
Yeah.
That's it. Let's do some touch-ups on the neck. And as before, what we have to do is we have to get some shellac on there to just kind of seal it, to give us a area that we can touch up.
Okay.
So, hit it.
And you're just going to hit the miters themselves? You're not...
I'm just going to hit the miters, yeah. I'm just going to wet it out. Good enough.
All right.
Now what I've got here, all right, this is a different white.
All right.
Now, because I'm the builder, I know that, okay? Because for this purfling that we used on the fretboard...
What is this purfling? What did you use?
It's bleached sycamore.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually like a maple kind of species, but it's bleached white.
Okay.
So it's going to be whiter, okay? So what we need to do is we need to be a little bit more on the white side. So what I did is I cleaned my brush. I cleaned it in the Behkol. Here, and just got all the color out of it. I'll dip it in here. And I'm going to start with this pure white. Now this would be Blendal white. Now, once again, it's not exactly white. It's got just a little bit of yellow in it. There's no pure whites, very rarely.
It's almost like really light gray.
Yeah, it is. It's a funny color. Okay, so let's start off and just kind of see where we are. So what I have to do here is I have to just drop some color in here.
Just fill that little separation.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. And let's move over here and do this one while everything seems to be working correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what we do is we get our X-Acto knife and we clean it up.
Yeah, you have just the tiniest little brush mark there. Dab. Just like that.
Now, this got a little lumpy on me, so I'm going to scrape that little lump out. And what happened is what I was worried that would happen is I removed some of my color. Okay, so let's come back with this. Got a little bit happy with it. That's okay.
They must be getting somewhere out there.
Now, you'll notice that what's going on here is my line, top line, is going a little bit too far here. This one's coming up and it shot past it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a Micron pen that's called Sepia.
Sepia.
Okay, this is just a brown color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off that edge.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm going to come back in here, and, you know, it almost looks like, as you said, Gene, it's kind of a gray color.
Yeah.
That white definitely doesn't look right. So I'm going to start to scrape away some of it and just leave a little.
Kind of lightens it up there.
And as you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm just finessing the lines. And once again, I don't like that white. It's a little bit too white.
Oh, like white point right at the tip there.
JJ's rules of finishing. 4?
4? We're at 4?
4?
I need to be making a list here. Okay.
If something looks too good, okay, it looks, you know, like maybe it's like just too bright, too luminous or whatever, we're calling it, you brown it down.
Okay.
Okay? That's the
Brown
that's
it
the
down.
tagline.
All right.
Brown it down.
Let's brown it.
Okay, so what you do is you just take some shellac and you make a very light brown. Okay. I'll get started over here.
Oh, wow. You made that disappear. Yeah. And so then you just wipe off the your little test marks. Those come right off that shellac, because you're still on that shellac we sprayed originally.
So I can actually just scrape that off.
Scrape that right off. Which is why we spray shellac to begin with, right?
Yep. So just basically just clean it up with the X-Acto. This is the other reason that you have a nice base coat of finish on there, because then you're not going back down to bare wood.
Yeah.
Now there's just a little bit of brown that came in here. And then there's a little bit of sepia. See, every time I say sepia, I think of 3CPO. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that really looks good. Now, keep in mind one thing. Your peg head is what people are going to see at a show.
Yeah.
So this has to be really, really dead on perfect. So we're done with the top. Let's go on down to the bottom. What do you say?
Let's do it.
I thought maybe we needed to do a little touch up here, but that has like what I consider to be a really pretty good just miter showing into it. Like I mitered it really well. I'm going to leave it. This one, not so good. It looks like I got a good miter, but it's off by about a 1/2 millimeter.
It's important to know when to leave something alone, right?
Yeah, right.
We've been saying that.
So once again, let's just touch this one up.
All right.
As before, when we did the other ones, we'll make up some white. Now, once again, I'm going to kind of twirl it around because I just want a little dab of color. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of drying the brush out a little bit so I can put just a little pinpoint of color in there.
It limits the amount that goes down.
Now, this is a little bit weird because this is off.
Yeah.
So I didn't, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to dab color in here.
Yep. Okay.
I'm going to just take my finger and even it out. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and just kind of connect it. All right, so I got to bring this in here. Okay, it looks a little bit better, but not quite. So we are off kilter here. Okay. All right, now let's clean it up and see where we are. Okay, that one looks good.
That looks great.
That looks a lot better. Let's take our Micron pen. I'm going to erase that tip right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to finesse that line in.
Oh, yeah.
Now, by dabbing it, I bled that color.
Dark spot there, okay.
Let's get rid of that. And then let's brown it down. So as you can see, you know, it's not really just a matter of, you know, going back and forth with the different tools until you just get it. Now, one of the mistakes is that when you put this stuff will really smear.
Yeah.
Much less so. So you have to be a little bit careful in the way that you do it. Brown it just a little bit, and then what I want to do, I want to knock off that high corner here. Okay?
All right.
That looks pretty good to me. So, that's it for the miter touch-up. Sometimes you can get these things where they look a little bit too good.
Okay.
Okay, like it looks like, well, it looks like you dabbed in and now you have a butt joint instead of like a miter
Right.
joint. So
you're going to put your miter back in, basically,
I'm going to
right?
basically put my miter back in with my X-Acto knife. And now we have a very delicate little miter in there.
Okay. So you could even go up and do those to the other ones if you wanted? And...
Could do it on the other ones, yeah. It's just a little bit of a way. It's probably a little bit of overkill, to be quite honest with you. But it really does kind of tie everything together in the end. And that doesn't require that you use color or, you know, a brush or anything. It's just an X-Acto, and everybody can use an X-Acto knife. And you just follow the original miter. What do you think, boy?
I'm impressed, Jeff. That looks great. Do we need to seal it off now? More show?
Oh, yeah. You got to seal it, because if you start moving this neck around for whatever reason, you're going to erase everything. So let's go throw some shellac on it. What do you say?
Man. Yeah, let's do it. We're making pretty good time here, Jeff. You said we had another one to go to, number 5?
We're in luck.
Okay.
You know why? We just turn it over.
Right on the back of it.
I don't even have to let that dry. Hit it.
So what exactly went wrong in this area, Jeff?
Well, what went wrong is that this is a volute,
Yeah.
okay? And when you go to sand it like that, you're kind of going up like ski jump. And I started to shave off some of the thin rosewood veneer here, and I'm exposing too much of this maple that's in the sandwich than I really would like. So there's two ways to do this. One way is to just take your number 2 brush and using the flat side of the brush. Now, as you can see, that's kind of hard to control, and I got a lot of color there. So what I'm going to use is a little bit of a different product. I'm going to go get one of those wide Micron pens. You can get them from a wide tip to a tiny tip. We're just going to take the brush and using kind of the flat edge of it. So the flat edge of it will be kind of like this. Okay, so I can get a wide swath of it. Okay. Now, as you can see, I got a little bit of color in there, so we have to take our X-Acto knife. Okay, now let's come back and just with the very tiny brush, I can just do my little dot thing. And there we go.
Wow, yeah.
Now, if I wanted to get really tricky, you'll notice that in rosewood, you have black inky lines. You can see these coming here and here and here. So what you can do here, well, it's not absolutely perfect, but I'm thinking I'm going to stop here. I'd say that it looks pretty good, and just from past experience, I do know that the less you do, sometimes the better it looks.
Yeah, you got to know when to stop sometimes. But we're not really done, right?
What do we got to do?
We got to seal it. Good.
What do you think?
I think it looks good, man. Should we seal it with a high
We
five?
should seal it with a high five.
Boom. Well, there we have it, folks. Jeff has given us a peek behind the curtain at some pro techniques for finish repair. And I think it's great to note, too, that although we're talking repair, we're dealing with a brand new build, right? Repair stretches beyond an existing guitar.
Well, it's important to know that everything I've shown you today can be applied to vintage guitars or old guitars, or when you're just doing repairs.
Yeah.
Because when you do a broken headstock or something like that, you're going to have to do a lot of touch-up, not a little. But yeah, everything I've shown you can be just translated over really easily.
Well, I've learned a ton. Some of the techniques that you use, I've already been kind of using without realizing it. Some of the touching and patting techniques you've done. It's just great to see a pro in action. And I think one of the big takeaways that I think you should all leave with is knowing when to stop. Like my friend Eric Coleman often says, you don't want to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So don't go too far. But thank you so much for coming by the studio and visiting Stu Mack. Thank you folks again for sticking around for Real Repairs, and we'll see you at the bench next time.
Over and out.